All right, greetings. Week 6, we made it. Menus class, wrapping up, hopping into to summer break. Everybody feeling good?
Yep.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, we even have an appearance from Israel. We haven't seen you around for a while. Good to see you, friend. Love it, coming out of the woodworks. Cool. So, class, here we are, week 6. Let's, talk about the tying up business strings as always before we pop into the good stuff. Most importantly, of course, there is the extra credit and of course survey. I know you're basically figuring out, hey, we're doing the same instructor, but make it a point to focus on the material of the class. If that helps, if you need to differentiate or don't want it, or hey, copy and paste, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. It was a joke, but some people do that. So anyways, I might send out a little last minute extra credit. So basically you could do either one, be really simple, very simple, just about a little menu that we talked about before. But all right, so end of class survey, it's an extra 5%. So, doesn't hurt, all right? Week 6, we've got lesson concepts. A lot of you are still not, just like, some of you are doing fantastic, 100%, A, solid job. Some of you all still are not going through the lesson concepts, which, as I mentioned in the beginning of the class, that contributes to your overall grade because there are questions that you have to answer. Much like in this week, week 6. Again, the lessons have questions associated with them, which you must answer. This contributes to your overall grade. So if you want to go for those higher grades, you got to get into all the class, right? So follow through on that, knock out this knowledge check. Just like everything else, class is wrapping up on Sunday. So hop in there, knock it out, take one last thing off your back, focus on your other assignments if you have them, and wrap everything else up on Sunday. The computer shuts it down at midnight, so I don't really have control over that. And that'll be it. And then I'll be posting grades Tuesday, sending those to registrar, and then everybody will be moving on to the next class dependent upon what you've already completed. So if you have any questions about that, reach out to your success coach. They're gonna know a lot better than I do, right? Because I don't know if you've switched or taken a class ahead of time or not because of COVID and switch out and around. So be sure to tell them if you're having any confusion about what classes you might, okay? Whether that's externship, another core business class, or anything else, okay? So now that we got those little business factors out of the way, still time, week 5. About 30 of you have not posted, all right? It's a big number. It's a lot of points. Let's do this, all right? Chef Mike is going to be grading, hopping back in there into Ce187 to grade the discussion forums if they haven't been graded yet. It is coming, do not worry. On a side note, currently all CU222 makeup assignments have been graded completely. Week 11s are still in the process with some other chefs happening to help, but makeups have all been graded. So now it's just down to week 11 and week 12 and knocking that out, right? If you need to resubmit, if you get feedback saying you need to resubmit anything, get it in. Just like with this class, right? If you're missing something, get it in, right? Because the time's ticking, all right? Does anybody have any questions regarding that?
Yes, Chef. Will you let us know who? I think I got like a bad grade on one of my submissions from the beginning because I don't think I understood what was going on, and I don't think I posted correctly. So is that able to be made up? I just saw it today. It just popped up.
From week 2?
I'm not sure what week it was. Hold on, I think I still have it pulled up.
Hey Shayla, just send me a message and we can take a look into that. But yes, as of right now, everything is still open. All right.
Okay.
You need to do something, do something. All right.
Okay.
But that clock is ticking. All right. It's a lot easier for me to go, update a knowledge check because I'm not going in and evaluating all of your cooking skills. No, it's not as, so just get in there and do it. If you're looking short on anything, knock it out. If you have not done the follow-ups, or like I said, this was like 3 weeks ago, if you did not receive a good grade in week 2, it means you did not follow or the questions. Go back there, read them, answer them. Simple as that. All right. Respond to classmates. Again, those are missing points. Saying I agree, it does not promote conversation. It is a discussion forum. We're there to engage with one another. Okay. Continue the conversation. Bring in new ideas. All right. Ask questions. That's how we engage in a discussion. And I agree ends the conversation. Okay. So, all right, let's hop into what we're talking about, which is menus, which is what we're always talking about. So let's talk a little bit about menus. We're going to hop into something that's really cool, that's used in a lot of business classes. It is a quadrant style of looking at your menu items, essentially. I'm going to pull that up, but first, before we get into that, let's start thinking about a menu. All right, not a huge, big one, small, concise, effective one, okay? And how do you all think that we decide, a chef decides, or a general manager and his chef and F&B decide, what are we gonna keep on this menu? What are we gonna take off? What do we think contribute to making those decisions? Say you've been going to your one favorite restaurant, and all of a sudden you see your favorite meal is gone. Why do we think that might happen?
Okay, I'll take him. I'm taking for a walk and then I'll take him.
Sales, access to, it could be not able to get certain ingredients like out of season.
Great, yeah, you hit it right there on sales, right? How much are you selling? If we have an item on a menu and it just simply is not moving, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Lack of interest, could be price, could be taste, could be demographic, it could be all kinds of things.
Yeah, those are great. What does it mean to the ingredients in the back of the house? What's happening to those?
Going bad, or I'm not sure if that's what you were asking.
Yeah, no, possibly going spoilage, possibly just sitting on a shelf, not moving, okay? Which is just revenue, money, just, held up there, right? It's not walking out the door and turning a profit. So, great job, Terry. Those are exactly what we are looking for, right? Sales, sales, sales. How much are we selling? If something isn't selling, we stop selling it because it doesn't make a point, right? To the menu. It's just clogging up the menu. Why not put something else on there? See if that gets the customers excited. How else might be a good idea to introduce a new item without committing to putting it on a menu?
Social media.
Social media, great. What else? How are we gonna how else are we gonna get that to our customers? Maybe I'm not on social media, I really don't care. How am I gonna get that when I'm in there?
Cards, when they sit down at the table, you can have them take little cues what they would like to have, or vice versa, something they can want, a new drink or something.
I think you're right on the cusp. Specials, right? Offering a special. Okay. Putting a special out there. See how it sells. Is the special a fail? A total flop? Or is it selling out like crazy? And then you say, hey, you know what? This is doing really well. Let's put that on the menu. Johnny said samples. Samples works in some locations, right? Depends upon if you're like, I could see that working more at a food truck, right? So you're already purchasing something and giving a sample out. I think it's a little bit more difficult to give a sample at a restaurant, only because, especially if you're sitting down, right? And or standing outside of the restaurant with a new item, you're not going to get feedback, right? So I think that's what you're talking about, or maybe trying to go with Chris, getting feedback cards. Feedback cards are another way to gain information from your customers. Hey, would you be, that could either be, there could be incentives associated with that. Give us feedback and you get 10% off your next order, or a free side, or a free drink, right? Because you're going to get valuable information back there. Okay. How to drive sales. Okay. Now, so we've got an idea of introducing specials. What else? Terry was kind of talking about seasonality. How else might we introduce menu items that could potentially become fixed?
Your question is how else we could do it?
Yeah, how can you, I said, I was giving you a hint saying you were talking about seasonality. How else can you figure out what items are going to sell?
Features, say it's in season. I don't know.
Yeah, you're close. A seasonal menu. So say you put a seasonal menu out there, right? And it's a seasonal menu, so quarterly, right? So you're going to have a cocktail, a beer, maybe, a non-alcoholic, maybe, if you want it, it depends on how strong your sales are in beverage. But you're going to have a seasonal menu that's going to be offered for 4 months out of the year or 3 months out of the year, because that product is in season. And it's also a perfect way to say, hey, man, again, we're selling a ton of those. The customers love it. They don't want to see it go. Once that season passed, they're still asking for it. So then you have to ask yourself a few things. 1, can I still match that price point for the ingredients out of season? 2, is the ingredient still high quality out of season? 3, is it profitable? 4, labor. Is it super labor intensive? All right, because labor adds costs. But maybe it's like, you know what? It's just using some of the, guess what this goes back to, that menu mix, crossover, cross-utilization, right? Well, we're using a lot of the same ingredients that we already have in other menu items that are on that menu. Let's go ahead and add it. It's a cream corn soup with a, jalapeno oil and some chive creme fraiche, right? Okay, I can make that happen, because I can get frozen corn, and it's gonna be really close, okay? Because when is frozen corn harvested? In season, right? It's gonna taste nice and sweet. So you're gonna be able to get pretty close on that. All right, cost point wise, will be a little bit different, but it's a cooked product. It's not like we're doing a fresh corn on the grilled Cobb salad, right? So it's cooked. So you have some flexibility with that, right? The price point's gonna be okay. And yeah, it's selling like crazy. People love it. You can maybe you serve it cold during the summer months and warm during the winter months. All right. So you think about what can you do, right? Having a beautiful caprese salad that sells like crazy in the summer is one thing, but having that on your menu in the dead of winter, if you don't have access to really wonderful tomatoes, kind of lackluster, right? It's not as delicious. Will it sell? Sure, but it's not the same. And your cost of tomatoes is totally different as well. Look at the cost of heirloom tomatoes that are going on in the grocery stores right now. In the winter, at least where I'm from, those are like $4.99 a pound. Now they're $2.99 a pound. That's a huge difference. Huge difference. So, can you afford that salad in the winter? Does it make sense to have that salad on? Now, how do we decide if it makes sense? I'm going to pull up this visual for you all to keep it on, even if the cost is going to increase. Like I said, this is one of my favorite things from culinary school, learning about this. Okay, 4 quadrants. Make this a little bigger. Okay. So, what do we have here? So you might see this as a different, there's a few different ways to break this down: star, dog, horse, cow. They're different. You'll see different variations through different business models. This is the one that they have here. So, high profitability. We want high profitability, right? We want something that is highly profitable. That means we're making a lot of money on it, right? Food cost is not high. Labor probably, it's not super labor intensive, okay? And what else? We want that with high popularity. We want something really popular with a huge popularity. That's a star. Do we want to keep stars on our menu? What do you think? Lots of profit, very profitable, and extremely popular. Should I take that off my menu? No way. You'd be a fool to take off an item that is selling like that, that has a big profit margin. Now, what about this dog over here? So low profitable, not that profitable, not that popular. What do we think might fall into this category, potentially? Maybe like an outrageously expensive.
Things that don't sell well.
I gotta mute everybody, sorry. Like a really, so it's not gonna be profitable, right? So you're not making a huge markup on that, because a really nice cut of, meat that's super expensive, maybe you're not gonna make a huge margin on that. It's not super profitable, and it doesn't sell that much because it's so expensive. But depending upon your establishment, it makes sense to keep it on because people want it there. We got a few customers, they've been loyal for years and he loves it. You got 2 options. You keep that on, right? Or you say, you know what, we're just gonna keep that like some in back of the house for when Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so come in and they wanna order it. Otherwise, we have to get it off that menu because it's just taking up space. We can put something else in there. Okay. How about this workhouse? So we've got super popular and not that profitable. What do we think about this? We think this is good, bad, indifferent?
Which one?
The workhorse. Extremely popular, not that profitable. Keep it or leave it?
Keep it,
Why?
because it's popular to make your people happy.
Bingo, you got it, Terry. Exactly. You keep a workhorse on there. Are you making a ton of money on it? No. But are your customers super happy? Yes.
Yes.
Bingo. Keep your customers happy. You take away a really popular dish, everybody's like, hey, where did it go? Maybe you have some customers that are coming just for that. Don't lose your workhorses. Don't lose your stars. Puzzles are a little bit different, right? They're really profitable. They're not that popular. Why do we think something like that would happen? Really profitable, but not popular.
Hmm.
I'll make a joke. You guys ready for a joke?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's like chicken livers. Maybe it's chicken pate. Maybe it's fried chicken livers. And those chicken livers in that offal is super cheap, right? But only certain people want it. Certain people order it. And you're making like $8 on that bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how much inventory do I need to keep? Can I keep whatever else I need? Frozen, does it make it, can I make it work? If you can, I would say keep it on, right? Super profitable, just is hit or miss. Again, let's talk about space in a kitchen. Lots of kitchens are really small. How big is your walk-in? How big is your dry storage? How much can you keep there? Sometimes you have to say, hey, you know what? I want to have a wide variety of a menu, but I just literally don't have the space for it. I don't have the cooler storage. I don't have the dry storage. I don't have the freezer capacity. I'm getting deliveries left and right. It's too much to keep up with. Right? These are all things that you start to analyze, right? That menu mix when you're updating your menu. Nice, a restaurant specializing in chicken gizzards. Hey, I'm not the only one out there that likes stuff like that. All right, but again, Terry was talking about demographics, about what's selling, what's not. All of these come into play, right? We're talking about trends, okay? I was consulting with an Italian, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, an Italian restaurant. And they want to do brunch. And my friend said, oh, do a shakshuka. You can't do shakshuka. It's a classic Italian-American restaurant. Can you introduce in arrabbiata an egg dish? You know, so you're still going with the idea, the same concept of that, but you can't just throw in something crazy. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, where did it came out of left field? All right, so when you introduce items, you know, you want to keep them with the theme of your restaurant, okay? Just like if you were a Mexican restaurant, you're not going to start throwing on, you know, French food. You might create a dish using some French techniques to execute a wonderful new taco, or you might take a taco and add some new trendy ingredients to it, okay? But you're not gonna totally just go in another direction. It throws the customers off. The customer's like, I came here to get Mexican food. What are you talking about? With this, yeah, with this beef bourguignon. I don't want that. Yeah, it's true, right? You're laughing, Terry, but it's true. Think about how the customer's reacting. Like, where is this coming from? You know, and you start to think, is the chef trained in this, or what's going on? Okay, so let's pop back in. Does anybody have questions about the, oh, I see a question about here. What are those places that do fusions, like Asian, Mexican fusion? You know, fusion restaurants are really interesting. Sometimes they can be extremely successful. The old joke in the restaurant industry is fusion or confusion, okay? Different lines of thought, right? Some people are like, that really works. Who ever heard of taco burrito? Did anybody have a taco burrito in their cities? Or is that just a Chicago thing? Taco burrito. So they were making these like massive burritos. And it's like, I don't even know what was going on there. Didn't make sense, right? It's just like, they ended up closing, right? But now maybe you look at some other fusions. Like, let's be real, Vietnamese food. That is a cuisine that was based on fusion. French influence, pate, all right? Asian ingredients, fresh, you know, all this vibrant cilantro, quickly pickled, you know, carrots and jicama and jalapeno, some spice on a perfectly baked baguette, right? That's That's some fusion right there. Asian ingredients and French cooked meat, but that was because of colonization. That happened, right? Or we look at Malaysian cuisine, which has a lot of these curries, right? Coming in, but also that Chinese effect with, so we've got some noodles in there, more noodles as opposed to like Indian curry, which is based on, not on noodles, which is based on rice or breads. Again, a little bit of a fusion, okay? So this can work, but it doesn't always work. Chris is asking about why do they sell deep fried donut burgers in a, I don't know. I don't know about that, Chris. Yeah, silly added menu items, right? They don't make sense, all right? KFC with a donut chicken sandwich? Oh, no, Chris, you're totally right. You're right, that it doesn't make sense. A donut chicken sandwich, to me, that makes sense. You know, if you think about it, you think about chicken and waffles, you think about a little bit of honey or butter on your fried chicken. KFC is a fried chicken place. We've got a fryer. I can see it. That's not like the craziest, in my opinion. I can see what they were getting at, even if I wouldn't order it. But, like we said, Asian or fusion restaurants, they have success, but not always. You have to get the right clientele that really loves it. Or an extremely talented chef who maybe has a different background, grew up with a different cuisine, and is now living in a new country, right? That's one way that it could kind of work, right? But they need to be very well versed in both of those cuisines in order to execute it. I'll be honest, I play with different spices and applying them to techniques all the time. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But here's how you can make it work. Let's just do a side think on this flavor profile thing. If I have chili, right, whether it's dried or fresh, in a menu, okay, and I have, now we all know that chili peppers, right, peppers, where did those originate from? Who remembers from Ce132? Where did peppers come from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys, come on.
I don't remember.
Who knows? Who knows? Mexico. Yeah, Sandra, exactly. Along with potatoes, maize, right? Potatoes, corn, pepper, tomato. Not Asia, actually, surprisingly, Carolyn. Not Asia at all. The chili pepper, it made its way over to Asia, but was not from there originally. Mexico, the original place, original first spot of the capsaicin, right? These spicy, beautiful peppers that we know and love across the universe. It's incorporated into all of our dishes pretty much near and far, except a few places that don't really dig it, like Italy. They're not huge into the spice factor. But chili peppers, spice, right? So if I want to make a dish that typically uses one type of chili, right? Maybe I have a little bit more flexibility, and it's not quite fusion, but it's playing with the flavor profiles, right? You're still keeping it in that same general family, but maybe you utilize a different chili, okay? Like Thai bird chilies are extremely floral, all right? Serrano's pretty nice, right? Nice heat. Jalapenos, who's noticed that jalapenos these days are like the least, you know, spicy thing compared to what it was 10 and 15 years ago and 20 years ago. They're not where they used to be. You get occasionally get a nice hot jalapeno chili, but not as often as you used to. What do we think is happening there?
Migration.
I like where you're going. Bye, Israel. Thanks for joining. You're right with this, Mike. You're right. I think you're kind of heading that direction. But how we select items, right? People want jalapenos everywhere, but they don't want the super intense heat. So we start selecting that. How it goes back to GMOs and kind of modifying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weeding those out. Like, hey, we want that jalapeno flavor, but we don't want the super hot ones. So can we select that? You know, by growing these seeds, replanting this one because this one has a better flavor profile. Anyways, there's a lot of ways to do fusion where you do it well, okay? Think about certain countries that have similar flavor profiles. Indian cuisine, Mexican cuisine, right there, boom. You know what we have in common? Cilantro, tomato, onion, chili, cumin. Cumin. What else do we have? Instead of paratas or roti, we have tortillas. Very similar. Rice, beans, meats, cooked in salsas, low and slow. A lot of similarities. Okay? So there are ways to do fusion, but you know, it's hard to execute, I think. But if you're going fusion, try and make it, you know, 2 together, not 15, right? Or that every other menu item is like another fusion. It's going to be really confusing for a guest. All right. So, does anybody have any questions about that? Otherwise, I'm going to pull up some of this work we have on the class page. Ready to rock and roll? Class page?
Yep.
Cool. All right, we're back in this puzzle. Where were we? I think I just wanted to go. So here you go, more of a breakdown here. You can all read on your own time, but this is getting into that, right? Now, this is what's great. Back in the day, you know, you would keep records were kept by hand, and you're taking notes. Hey, how many burgers did Sally sell today? Yeah, she's got 10 on those. And how many wings did Tom, you know, sell? Whatever, you know, and you're keeping it now. Point of sale system right here. Okay. You get a weekly tally. You can get a nightly tally. What should we do with that data?
I missed it.
It's okay. So we're using a point of sale system, right? It's going to calculate every night how many pasta, how many spaghetti bolognese, how many lasagna, how many fettuccine alfredo, how many pesto.
Forecast.
Boom, you got it, Terry, for forecasting. Now, what does forecasting mean? That means, hey, we've got the weekend coming up. Are we busy during the weekend compared to the weekday?
No.
Well, it depends upon your establishment. Most restaurants are going to be busier on the weekend.
Busier, yes.
Than during the weekday, right? So as the weekend's approaching, you need to ramp up production. Like Terry was saying, forecasting, right? Hey, we sold 200 burgers last Friday night and Friday day, and 100 hot dogs and 75 brats. So we use those guidelines from last week, or the longer you've been in business, right? The more data that you have, or up to get an average, right? A better idea to produce. Hey, we need to make sure we have at least 225 patties pressed and ready to go. We need to have at least 85 brats parboiled, ready for the grill. It gives you all right? Because you know you're gonna roll over to the next day, right? You can always have a little rollover, or if you're getting tight, you can crank out a little bit more. But without those pars to give you a general idea, you might, and then you know you're rolling in, you're like, man, we really over prepped for Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday, you're not gonna hit those numbers like you did on Friday and Saturday. So you drop your production. Okay, this gives you insight. As Terry said, forecasting, right? How much do we need to prep per day or for the weekend? Now, when you start off as a business, you have no darn clue. You don't know. You're like, woo, I think that this is going to be a hot item. Pooh, little do you know, it totally bombed. And something that you thought was going to thought that was going to be a dog, right? Not selling a lot, is going gangbusters. So you don't know when you first start. You really don't. I mean, you've got a general idea of what you think might happen. Maybe you've given samples out to people. You've got a general idea of what you think might sell, right? Or you also know that, hey, we live in an area that tends to favor pork, right? So I'm gonna make sure I've got a good amount of pork products on there. They're probably gonna sell a little better than my tofu or something like that, right? You get those general ideas and feelings, but you don't know. So then as your POS, your point of sales machine, takes data and starts ramping that up every week, gathering that, you start to have a really good view of what you're selling. Now, there are going to be weeks that totally throw a curveball and you don't know what happened. Why is that selling when it never sold? There are flukes. There are weird, crazy things that happen all the time in every business, especially in the restaurant industry. And you can't figure it out. Why? How did that happen? And it just happens and you roll with it, right? That's part of the business, right? That's why there's a lot of risk involved in this, because crazy stuff happens. But the more time you're in business, the more data you have, the better able to set pars, right? And guess what else that helps you do? Comes with something that a manager would do. It comes with staffing.
Scheduling.
Scheduling, exactly. So now I know how to better schedule. Not just back of the house who's cooking, but front of that house as well. How many waiters, how many servers do I need to handle these number of guests, right? And it'll happen sometimes where you're way overstaffed from the house and you just say, you know what, hey, who wants to go home early tonight? I do, I'll go. Or we gotta call somebody in. See if somebody can come in and cover. Maybe the manager has to hop on the floor because you just got bum rushed by a party, because guess what? Somebody came in for a party, they didn't call ahead, but are you gonna turn away an opportunity to do a party? No way, exactly. That's a lot of money. As long as you can handle it, right? Within reason. You might have to bust your chops a little bit, but within reason, right? Yeah, I'm gonna push it, I'm gonna crank it out. Cooks are gonna be going nuts, they're gonna be sweating beads, and from the half is just gonna be going back and forth all day. But hey, guess what? At the end of the day, we're gonna make those customers happy, and we're gonna have a huge impact of word of mouth and the experience that they had. It's worth it. You don't turn away a party, right? As long as you can handle it. So, having this idea of how many customers and guests are coming in, how many items on a menu you're gonna sell, allows you to prep appropriately as well as staff and schedule appropriately, all right? As well as order appropriately.
Inventory.
Yeah, ordering, right? You gotta know, oh shoot, we're low on ketchup and mayo. We got the weekend coming up. We are gonna need that. Otherwise, what do you have to end up doing? Who's ever worked in a place where they're like, hey, somebody's gotta make a quick run to the store. Woo, that's gonna cost you. That happens once, okay. That happens 5 times, somebody's not doing their job, right? You're missing out on inventory, you're not seeing things, there's theft, there's something going on. Things aren't matching up, right? You need to be prepared. Again, setting pars, giving yourself an idea of how much to order, how much you're gonna sell. It's all about projections, all right? And like I said, you're not gonna be right all the time, but your point of sales is gonna give you an idea. So nowadays they have so many really cool new technology incorporated into your point of sales machine that it is worth it. Worth it to, get that extra, you can figure out how to utilize that information that they're giving you. Because it's just a computer that's tracking it. As long as you know what to do with that information, you can make the most out of it. So use that to your advantage.
You can track, it'll have the weather now, like a year ago, the weather, holidays, what days the holiday, what day of the week a holiday will fall on.
Yeah.
So you're better prepared for like Mother's Day and Father's Day and stuff like that. And also like spring with rain and storms, and it'll let you know, well, this date last year, you only did this.
Yeah, and it might help or not be totally accurate, but it gives you an idea. We all know that holidays or spring break. What happens during spring break? People go away. So your business might not be as high as it normally was if you're in a college town. Even though every other week you're cranking it out, this week, hey, pull it back. Keep stuff in the freezer. No need to thaw that. No need to order this. Like Terry said, holidays, also very important. Weather, all these have an impact on what you're going to sell. So let's go back into here. So this is about updating your menu using the point of sales. Like Chris was saying, hey, maybe get guest feedback, right? That's another great idea. Guest feedback helps, and you can use incentives to get that guest feedback. We've got your dog horse star. All right, we're just gonna go like this. I'm not even reading the question. We're just submitting. Hop it on. Oh, they're saying that's wrong. Well, I knew it was gonna be wrong. I was just hoping to get to the next page. We'll just hop back. Next section of your lesson, menu analysis. All right. You're gonna watch this on your own. You can cruise through that. So check, this is what my point is here, all right? These are your lesson assignments. Like in week 1, you had this, where you have to go through that lesson and answer questions. And it becomes part of your, there it is, of your overall grade. So don't miss out on those. Additionally, you've got your knowledge check to also hit up. All right. There was something else that I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, yes. What do you all think? Let's play the guessing game. Remember, no wrong answers, because who knows, right? What percentage of, okay, how do I phrase this so that I can make sure that everybody understands, because it's a little tricky. What percentage of items on a menu do you think make up the majority of your sales?
70%.
Of the menu, making up majority of the sales? Is that what you're saying, Terry?
Yeah. I feel like it's a trick question.
It is a trick question. You guys know, we didn't figure out that I like to give you guys trick questions yet?
25% maybe?
25% is a lot closer. It's somewhere between about 15 to 25%, okay? Makes up approximately, 75 to 85% of a restaurant's food sales. That's crazy.
Well, where's the rest? Where's the rest?
Those are coming from the other menu items. Food sales, restaurant food sales, like menu items from food. They're those dogs, they're those puzzles, all right? It's not always a super evenly distributed menu, right? We know based on let's say you go into a restaurant, right? And you're working in the restaurant, and you know that whoever is working the grill station gets hit the hardest. And that's because most of the items are coming off there because they're extremely popular, right? And maybe poissonnier, the fish cook, getting hit every once in a while, but not as frequently, right? As those steaks and burgers, okay? Because it's just how the menu distribution rolls out. These are just averages, right? Does it mean that it's always going to be like that? No, but rarely will you see a menu that has everything getting hit all the time. There are popular items that everybody knows, people are really familiar with.
Oh, so you're saying 20 to 30% are sold all the time?
Bingo, you got it.
Okay, I got it.
Yep, majority are making up the majority of those sales. 20 or 30% is making the majority, like 80% of your sales.
Daily sales.
Yeah, or just total, yeah, weekly,
Okay.
whatever. Yeah, a
Okay.
lot of it's coming from those same items. Just like, okay, for example, let's go to tacos. I don't know, I always go back to tacos. I think I'm craving tacos. But we know maybe that carne asada is going to sell a lot, or I'm thinking about the one with the, can't remember, with the pineapple. Everybody loves it. I don't.
A taco
Yeah.
with pineapple?
Yeah, in the sauce for, that's how we roll here, at least in Chicago. But the carne asada is going to sell like crazy, right? But the tacos de lengua, the tongue tacos, are not going to sell as much, but they're still going to be on the menu, right? So you're going to be producing a lot of the carne asada, but you're still going to have those other items on the menu for that, making up that rounding out the menu.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It's the adobo. Adobo.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, really? Gotta come to
Huh.
Chicago, Terry. Adobo. Adobo style. So, it gets tricky. Numbers, right? That's why it's so important. Cooking is not just about being a great chef and being able to season correctly. It's about, how do you build your menu? How do you know when to pull a menu? When is it not selling? You've got some chefs who are like, it's my favorite menu item. I love it so much. Well, guess what? The customers don't love it. Take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't be hard-headed. Like, just because you love it doesn't mean everybody loves it. You got to give the people what they need, what they want, what they're buying. It's pretty simple. Once you get, the bigger picture going on, right? Which is making your customers happy, making profitable dishes. Thinking about how to use ingredients that are affordable and turning them into wonderful end products. Okay. Let's see, what else? Oh, I wanted to get your all thinking about menu items. I've been pushing it hard in Ce187, writing those menu descriptions. Think about how you, like, what's in season right now? It's summer. What's coming in? What are you seeing that are affordable at the markets? Prices that normally they're not.
Well, we're getting ready to grill a lot in the South.
Yeah. And what type of veg, Marvin? Did you just sneak in here, Marvin? You've been here the whole time.
I've been here the whole time. I've been here with you. I've been letting Terry handle the show tonight.
Oh, okay.
What kind of vegetables?
Yeah, what vegetables are popping up everywhere?
We getting some probably like a lot of cabbages and greens and stuff like that. Corn,
Corn, peppers, right?
Yes.
Corn and peppers are starting to pop up. You're going to see prices dropping on peppers right now during the summer months. Same like corn, right? How many ears of corn for $1, right? So again, you want to start thinking about that. If you've got a restaurant, how do you incorporate that into your menu? Hey, maybe you realize that having a standard fixed menu all year does not work. And you're better off doing quarterly menus because you're using the prices, right, of seasonal ingredients. We're not saying that you're staying totally 100% in season, but you're building menus around those ingredients. It also, guess what, gives your customers something to look forward to. It gives your chef something to look forward to, because guess what? Do you know what happens? Burnout. Burnout happens because chefs and cooks are tired of cooking the same thing every single day, in and out. So Is it hard to switch up your menu every day? Heck yeah, train it. You need to have extremely skilled staff to be able to do that. But guess what? A few months, you train them, work it out, boom. After a while, they're in, right? And then just as they're like they're like so solid on executing those dishes, they're not quite bored of them yet, but they're like, huh. And then you, boom, introduce that new menu, right? It keeps customers and your cooks engaged and excited. And if you can do it right, you can make some good profits on those, right? Because you're using corn right now and you're doing a corn salad or a grilled corn salad, right? And it's fresh and delicious. And come winter, you're doing frisee and dried cranberries and roasted shallot with some goat cheese as a salad. You're not throwing corn necessarily, fresh corn, on your menu in the winter. So a lot of pieces of the puzzle to think about, all right? Updating your menu is really important. You need to analyze your menu. Otherwise, you basically just it's like dragging dead weight. Just dragging that menu item along just because it's been on there since my grandma founded the restaurant. Nobody orders it. It uses like outdated products that nobody likes anymore. And it's time to go, right? Some people don't want to let it go. And that's okay too. You got to think about it though. You have to reinvent yourself time. The restaurants struggle. And that's when you say, hey, how can we jazz this up? What do we need? Do we need to do some trending research? What's trending right now? We've been talking about cauliflower, right? Cauliflower rice. Maybe you have a rice dish, you sell a lot of rice on your menu and you just realize, you know what? Let's just put some cauliflower rice on there. Let's see what happens. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions? Terry.
Okay, have you heard of Jeremiah Tower?
Have I heard of him? I actually was lucky enough to interview with him.
What?
I interviewed him. Yeah, it was super cool.
You interviewed? So you worked with him or something?
Well, not really interviewed. We did the old chef here and I did a podcast with him. So we didn't interview him. I misspoke. We did a podcast with him. He's incredible human being, kind, fun, interesting, unique. Yeah, we talked all about salt, and then we did another podcast on chilies with him.
So my question is, but I guess he was popular by them. How do some restaurants, he built that restaurant like down the alley.
Stars?
Yeah, and everyone told him it wasn't gonna work. And he poured all this money into this vacant building, and wasn't it in like a poor neighborhood?
I believe so. It was like not the highest, real estate value, correct?
And he just killed it, and people would stand in line in this alley, and it's like, how does someone do that? Because they always say location, 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 and this guy just built a restaurant. I mean, you could say anywhere at this point. I mean, in an alley. And it was celebrities and stuff that stood in this dirty, and they said he purposely did that. Like,
yeah. Well, I think, there are things that don't make sense that flourish and are super successful. But first and foremost, he had he was extremely talented chef. And
so by then, had he already shown that he was amazing?
He's been working at Chez Panisse in Berkeley for years. So he learned, that was the farm to table seasonality and its, and its heyday. And then I think it's also, there's a lot of other, so there are so many factors. There's how do you advertise, right? There's also the allure of like, oh, it's hard to get a table there. Then when you hear that something's hard to get a table there, that gets people excited. Like there's a here that there's always a line around the corner for this speakeasy. And it's like, why? I don't even know. I haven't been there because every time I go by, there's a line. I'm like, I'm not waiting. But it's crazy. It's crazy how some things just take off. Those are those ones where there's like not necessarily a rhyme or a reason or an explanation, because you open it in this not area, you know, an area that's not all about location, and somehow you create this energy, this atmosphere, but that's part of it, right? He created an experience. If you look at some of the photos, you can see that it was glitz and gold and glam and you know, everything where everybody wanted to be. And then you had great food, you know?
He's not cooking anywhere now, right?
No, because then he did a stint I think he went to New York City, Tavern on the Green, and it didn't work out, you know? It didn't hit. The menu wasn't successful. It wasn't executed well. Things happen, right? Who's I'm thinking of, what's his name? And I'm blanking on his name right now. French guy. He's got all those restaurants. Cocoa Pot, I'll think of it. But some chefs just have restaurants that just take off like gangbusters, you know, and some might have a wonderful menu and be totally delicious, serving fantastic food, and it just doesn't work, you know?
It was just this time.
Yeah. Carolyn's saying that in Seattle, there's a restaurant, it's only known for its red door, and there's no indicators that it's a restaurant. So again, you know, there are these one-off things that become like, I think it's because it becomes something special, you know, or exotic, or nobody knows about it, or only, you know,
exclusive. Everyone wants to be a part of something, exclusivity.
You got it. Yeah, sometimes that just happens. Or you go to a restaurant that everybody's been raving about, and then you go in and you're like, yeah, that was not all it was cracked up to be. Service sucked.
Right.
Salted. What's going on? You know, maybe the cooks had a bad night. Maybe the expediter wasn't checking their food properly. I don't know. Something happened. Next thing you know, that place closed. So it happened. Wolfgang Puck. Yes, thank you, Judy. Puck. Oh, Wolfgang Puck. Yeah, he was, he's got crazy locations. People love his food all over the nation, right? Now, I think he even has like pizzas and the whole line of food products in grocery stores.
But he does take risks, though. He puts stuff together that you would never. Yeah, he's a risk taker.
Oh no, he definitely. Wolfgang Puck has done a phenomenal job and created an empire. Definitely. Judy loves to watch him cook. I personally prefer Jacques Pepin. He's my guy, but I'm old school. Yeah. That French accent, he's just like so old and cute. I don't know. Sergio's asking about the noodle place downtown. Whew, Sergio, which noodle place? There's a ton. Like ramen-san. I mean, let's talk about noodles. Noodles are going gangbusters, right? I don't know if anybody saw this, but is anybody familiar with birria, which is like the beef and slowly cooked in a nice, really spicy broth? Well,
pronounce it again.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'll bring up a visual of it.
The tacos, birria.
Yeah, but it's actually it's not a taco. I mean, you can serve it in a taco.
It's a stew. Yeah, it's actually a stew that they're putting. I'm going to go try that this weekend.
Oh, really? Okay, here's a visual. But this is what's so crazy. Birria is delicious. But yeah, they do take that meat and put it into tacos oftentimes. Yep, but it's really a stew. Now, what's crazy, because ramen is so popular, there's one place I saw even doing like birria ramen. So we've got this luscious, flavorful, slow cooked stew, meat. Why not drop some noodles in there, add that cilantro and jalapeno and fresh onion, kind of like ramen, hello. So It's really interesting. There's an example of fusion kind of trying to work, right? Or they're saying, wait, ramen is kicking off. We've got all this birria. Let's do this.
So the ramen that they're selling in these restaurants, that's not the same as ramen noodles that's like $1 in the store, right?
Well, the concept of it is the exact same, yes. Ramen noodles are a specific type of making ramen noodles, which you basically alkalize the dough so it has that kind of springiness to it. It's a different way of making a dough, but traditional ramen hails from Japan. And of course they have an instant ramen there as well, but no, true ramen is, you know, it's a super slow, long cooked broth. Here, I'll bring up a visual in case you guys want to see it. Long cooked.
So the ones in the restaurants is just a better quality, but it's pretty much the same.
Well, I mean, the concept is the same. Again, that's like, you can't really compare them, you know. Is it noodles and broth? Yeah. But, you know, there are a lot of, you know, the packet is made from seasoning powder, right? And dried noodles. While you go into a restaurant, here's a really simple one, right? This is just noodles, a little bit of that pork, and green onions. But they can go as crazy as something like this, where you've got fish balls and fish cakes and fermented mustard greens and, oh yeah, high five, Sergio, and bamboo shoots and slow cooked egg or century egg. So they can really run the, you know, and then they go there, you know, everything. There's so many variations of ramen. But the core of that, you know, oh, did I not share, am I not sharing this page?
No.
Hold on. Sometimes I just get so excited. So here was a simple version with just noodles, that nice, beautiful pork, and some scallions. Well, then you could go all the way up to, you know, a more elaborate one that has all these different ingredients like bamboo shoots and fish cakes and pork belly and slow cooked egg or century egg. You can have ones that are based on mushroom and tofu, something similar like this. This looks like a vegetarian one, all right? Then you've got spicy ones. You have all of those, but essentially, yes, the very concept and base of this soup that has taken over, you know, everywhere are noodles and broth. But a proper ramen shop is going to be slow cooking that stock, you know, overnight from high quality bones, getting that flavor profile, using fresh, either making noodles in-house or ordering from a place called like Sun Noodle, which hails from California, which is at like that's if you're gonna open up a ramen shop, outsource your noodles from Sun Ramen, unless you're getting somebody in here that knows how to do it. But yeah, that's ramen. That's ramen for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Carolyn's talking about pho. Pho. Yeah, pho is delicious. Vietnamese. Oh man. You guys, I could talk about food for hours and hours. You guys want to know, okay, next time you go to a Vietnamese restaurant, right? Get yourself some pho, of course, whatever you want. There are ways to order it. You can get it where you've got all the inner, you know, the deliciousness like tripe and tendon, or you could go more simple and just like get some nice little thin slices of meat. Either way you want to play. But what you're missing out if you don't order this, now make sure you've got a good place, all right, is Ban Xiao. And this is my personal heaven. I love, once I started eating this, I never stopped. Like every time I go to a Vietnamese restaurant, I'm like, Ban Xiao, get the party started. All right. This is a pretty good visual of this one. All right. The batter, it's a crepe batter, super crispy. It's made with rice and a little bit of turmeric and eggs, all right? And then inside, bean sprouts, shrimp, pork belly, bacon, right? And then what you do is it comes with, let's see, another good visual of what it's coming with. It generally, that's a decent one. It comes with lettuce, mint, cilantro, culantro, you know, some beautiful, beautiful fresh herbs. A side of this daikon and carrot, and then this sweet and spicy dipping sauce. So you take a big, nice leaf of lettuce, you cut a little bit of the Ban Xiao, you put that in there, add some herbs and your pickled carrot, and you dip that in this sweet, spicy concoction. It's just like total heaven. You ask me, Ban Xiao, don't miss it next time you go to a Vietnamese restaurant. Should be nice and crispy and just delicious. Yes. Again, a little bit of fusion, right? Crepes, right? But what are crepes also like? Crepes are like, who knows what dosa is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cuban crepe, right? Very similar, which looks just like the original crepe coming from France, right? So at this point, to be honest, the world, we are a melting point. We're living in a time where, while America, the US used to be pretty much on the forefront of, because we were so fortunate and lucky to have people from all over, that we had access. It wasn't the craziest thing to be like growing up with Chinese food and sushi, You go to some other countries and they're just getting some things now. And it's like, in the US, we kind of grew up with having access to all of this, which is really unique. Now, is it totally authentic all the time? No, but we had the idea or the, awareness of it. Maybe your neighbor was, Indian or Pakistani, and you grew up smelling that luscious curry all the time. So many different ways and or somebody was Korean, who knows, from wherever around in the world, their parents or something. And so we were exposed to that, while you have other countries that are more culturally similar, right? For longer periods of time, where you didn't have this mass immigration and exchanging of flavors. And now we're getting into that. You see that popping up in other countries where they're like, oh my gosh, we got sushi, we gotta go. And it's like, we're in Italy. Like, I don't want to. Yeah, right? Like, I came here for the pasta, all right? Like, seriously. But somebody in Italy might be so excited about that. Like, we finally got it. It seems crazy, but it's real. So the cool thing is, with the internet, we have access. We're understanding a lot more about different spices, utilization. And hopefully that all comes just to, have everybody have a better understanding of all of us. So good. Everybody is getting excited. I am salivating as well. So I hope you all are too. I don't know about you all, but it's about to be dinner time. Hopefully soon. But anyways, class, does anybody have any questions now that we got totally off of Ce187? But we're talking about menus, right? Menu design, menu development, ideas. How do you introduce new flavors? Oh, one thing that I would like to point up. This is massively important. I've mentioned it before, but being our last class, I want to talk about this. Staying on top of trends. Trends. I'm going to pull up two websites really quickly. I'll send them out because I owe you guys edible flower links and something else from last night. I'll add this in all one big message along with this. And these are two of my favorite resources for trends, staying with it, if you will. Yeah, all right, Flavor the Menu. It's a magazine, it's also available online. Flavor trends, strategies, and solutions for, guess what? Menu development. All right, this is gonna be your friend. This is where you're gonna look, all right? This is where you want to go. You want to utilize resources like this. You want to utilize companies and publications that are giving you good information, all right? So let's see top 10 trends. This was for 2020. I got super excited because of number 9, Balkan Bounty. I've been preaching about the lore of the Balkans since 2009 when I used to work there. And now, look, just an idea. This is how long stuff starts to come, all right? It was 10, 11 years ago when I was like introduced to it, and I thought, oh my gosh, why isn't this stuff popular? This is amazing. Ivar, Cevapcici, all this. Boom, here it is, finally, 11 years ago. I was like, man, I should have invested in something. But this is it, right? Cardamom's coming in. How are we reinventing brunch? How are you incorporating more fruit? Eastern meds, next move, right? We've got bowls all over. The other thing, non-alcoholic drinks, right? How are we incorporating those into menus? We got to appeal to the millennials, right? They're like not drinking, I think it's, or Gen Zers, I don't know. They're like not drinking as much as any other like generation before them. So we got to appeal to that, right? A lot of people are trying to be healthier. So how do you make really tasty cocktails? Guess what? Plenty of ways to do that without adding alcohol. You can use different herbs, spices, teas, hibiscus, cardamom, everything. honey, using that as a sweetener, all this stuff. And the other one that I like is called this one. Restaurant hospitality. Another fantastic website. You can subscribe, you can get emails. It doesn't just give you trends, but it gives you ideas of like what's going on. Look, chef salaries saw the largest increase in almost 2 decades before COVID. What's going to happen afterwards? Interesting. Wow. Okay. Pandemic fuels widespread changes in alcohol. It's just a great way to keep on top of things. Okay. And you'll get stuff like flavor, you can, search, but it's just a really good place to flavor of the week. Shisho, minced East Asian cousin. It's delicious. Ever had shisho? It comes on a lot of your sushi platters. You probably had it and didn't know it was shisho. All right. Or black rice. I actually have some in my cabinet right now. It's delicious. So these are just websites where you want to stay in touch and looking for inspiration as well. Like, what's the next thing? What should I be getting involved with? What should I be looking at? So, like I said, I will send all of those out. Wrap up class, knock out your week 6. If you didn't finish or didn't reply to 2 classmates for week 5, knock that bad boy out. And anything else that's missed was due up. It has been a pleasure. I've loved engaging with you all. Discussions have been great. A lot of sharing between classmates, whether we were talking about, food trucks or food tonight. Just remember, sharing knowledge is critical for the growth of yourself and everybody else, right? When you stop sharing, you kind of stop growing, right? It's like the same thing with learning. It's like, kind of flatline. So share ingredients, share ideas, share inspiration. Reach out if you have questions. I'm going to miss all of you, and stay in touch. All right. I'm here, and be safe. Take care. Enjoy summer break. All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Chef.
Bye,
Thank you.
bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Take care. Just say
Bye.
thank you. Thank you.